It often starts with confusion, not panic. You look at your credit card statement and notice that you paid again this month. You didn't miss a payment. You didn't go on a shopping spree. You even tried to be careful. And yet, when you check the balance, it barely moved. Sometimes it feels like it didn't move at all. For a lot of people, that moment is where the stress really begins, because it creates a quiet fear that maybe something is wrong with you. Maybe you're just bad with money. In a moment, I'll explain why this feeling is so common and why it has much less to do with discipline than most people think. What makes this especially frustrating is that you're often doing exactly what you were told to do. You're paying on time, you're sending the minimum, you're trying not to use the card too much. From the outside, it looks responsible. From the inside, it feels exhausting. The balance just sits there month after month, like it's glued in place. Later, I'll show you why this system is designed to feel slow. Even when you're doing everything right, to understand what's happening, you have to zoom out and look at how credit cards actually work in real life, not how they're explained in ads or quick tips. A credit card is not just borrowed money. It's borrowed money with a meter running all the time. The meter is interest, and it doesn't care how hard you're trying. It only cares about the balance that's left at the end of the month. Imagine a very simple example. Let's say you have a credit card balance of $3,000, and the interest rate is around 24%, which is extremely common right now in the US. When you divide that interest across the year, you're paying roughly $60 a month just in interest at the beginning. Now imagine your minimum payment is $90. You send that payment on time, and you feel like you did something good. But after interest is added, only about $30 actually goes toward reducing the balance. That's why it feels invisible. You're working, you're paying, but the progress is painfully slow. This is where a lot of people accidentally blame themselves. Think the problem is willpower or budgeting or motivation. But the real issue is math combined with timing. Credit card interest is calculated daily, and minimum payments are designed to keep the account open as long as possible. In a moment, I'll explain why minimum payments exist in the first place, and why relying on them almost guarantees slow progress. Another layer of stress comes from credit scores. Many people believe that paying on time is the main thing that matters, and to be fair, it is the largest factor. Payment history makes up roughly 1/3 of your credit score. Missing a payment can hurt more than people expect, because even one late payment can stay on your report for years. That fear keeps people focused on never missing a due date, which is understandable. But paying on time alone doesn't always move your score up in a noticeable way. Credit utilization plays a huge role here, and it's one of the most misunderstood parts of the system. Utilization looks at how much of your available credit you're using. If you have a card with a $5,000 limit and you're carrying a balance of $3,000, your utilization is around 60%. Even if you pay on time every month, that high utilization can hold your score down. This is why people often feel stuck while doing everything they were told to do. The effort is there, but the balance is still high, so the score doesn't respond the way they expect. Now here's where the stress becomes constant. Because the balance isn't going down quickly, people often keep using the card just to stay afloat. Groceries, gas, a medical copay, a car repair, these aren't luxury expenses, they're survival expenses. And every time the card is used again, the balance creeps back up, sometimes undoing weeks of progress. This is where most people accidentally make things worse, not because they're careless, but because they're under pressure. The US financial system makes this especially hard for people living paycheck to paycheck. When income barely covers essentials, there's no extra room to attack debt aggressively. You're not choosing between paying off debt and saving for fun. You're choosing between debt and groceries. In that situation, credit cards become a buffer, not a choice. Later, I'll show you why income matters more than willpower when it comes to escaping this cycle. Another reason balances feel stuck is how statements are timed. Interest is added first, then your payment is applied. So when you look at the balance right after paying, it can feel disappointing. You don't see the impact you expected, and that discouragement builds over time. Eventually, some people stop looking at statements altogether because it's emotionally draining. There's also a psychological trap here. When progress feels slow, people start thinking that small extra payments don't matter. They tell themselves they'll wait until they can make a real payment. But waiting usually means nothing changes. Even small reductions in balance can lower interest over time, but the system doesn't make that benefit obvious up front. This is also where side income comes into the conversation, and it needs to be handled carefully. The internet is full of hype about quick money, overnight success, and flashy side hustles. Most of that is noise. What actually helps is boring, predictable income. Something that adds a little extra cash each month without adding risk or stress. Income matters because it creates margin. Without margin, every unexpected expense pushes you back toward the card. A simple example makes this clear. If you can add even $200 a month through extra work, overtime, or a realistic side gig, and that entire amount goes toward your highest interest card, the math changes. Interest still exists, but now you're pushing against it instead of barely keeping up. This is slow, unglamorous progress, but it's real. It's also important to talk about common mistakes that keep balances high. One is spreading extra payments across multiple cards. It feels balanced, but it often reduces impact. Another is closing cards too early, which can hurt utilization and make the score drop temporarily. These moves aren't wrong because people are careless. They're wrong because the system is unintuitive. So what actually helps without overwhelm? Today, the most important thing is clarity. Look at one card, just one. Check the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. Not to judge yourself, just to understand what you're dealing with. Awareness is not failure. It's the starting point. This week, focus on cash flow. Look for small, realistic ways to free up or earn a little extra money. Not forever, just enough to create breathing room. This might mean adjusting one bill, picking up a few extra hours, or selling something you no longer need. The goal is not perfection, it's momentum. This month, aim to reduce utilization even slightly. Bringing a balance down below a key threshold can help both interest and credit score over time. Progress here is slow, but it compounds quietly. If you felt stuck with credit card debt, it doesn't mean you're irresponsible. It means you're operating inside a system that profits from slow progress. The good news is that slow progress is still progress. Financial repair is not fast, but it is possible. And once you understand why the balance feels stuck, you can finally start pushing in the right direction. If you want more clarity like this, stay with me. We'll keep breaking it down one calm step at a time,